Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Public outrage grows over alleged widespread corruption in government. This as more lawmakers are accused of receiving kickbacks from anomalous flood control projects. Will these officials be held accountable, and what can we expect from the next hearing of the House Infrastructure Committee? Let's get on point with the panel's chairman, Bicol Saro Party List Representative Terry Ridon. Congressman Ridon, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, Pinky. Thank you for having me.
Okay, just to summarize, there have been two hearings by the the Infra Committee.
Yes, that's correct. Two hearings already.
Okay, and when is the next hearing, Congressman?
We haven't set the date yet, but hopefully within the next 2 weeks. We're just preparing all of the other documents that we need for that next hearing.
I've actually been saying that the next hearing is supposed to be this Monday. So definitely, sir, it's not going to happen on Monday.
Not on Monday, but maybe the latter part of next week.
All right.
Or next week.
Okay, so either latter part of this coming week or early part of next week. Sir, exactly what is being done right now? What kind of documents are you trying to collate? What is keeping you busy from pursuing the third hearing?
Well, we will be going into the other non-flood control projects which the President visited. So we will have to go into the Benguet cases, particularly rock netting issues, because I think the President is concerned about how these projects had in fact been implemented, because I think there are allegations that these particular projects have been overpriced. No? So we would like to be able to take a look at a sampling of some of the implemented projects in that area.
But why jump there?
Well, why jump there? Because the President went there the last time. But I mean, we're not just going to be talking about Benguet and these areas. We will still wrap up some of the unresolved issues in Bulacan.
Yeah, I asked that, sir, because there's still so much to talk about. And then when you said that we also want to look into, rightly so, that the President visited Tuba Benguet and looked at the rocknet issue there, there's still so much to be discussed. That's why I was asking why jump there.
No, we have mentioned this already as far back as the first hearing, actually. Because
Okay.
when we started the first hearing, we already stated the direction of the next few hearings. No, so I think by the third hearing, we can appropriately introduce information and particular discussions on Benguet and rock netting concerns. But again, to be very clear, we will still be talking about the unresolved issues in Bulacan, particularly the issues relating to Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, and the two senators.
Yeah, that's why I need to underscore this issue, sir, because you had a lot of resource persons during the second hearing and even during the first hearing. Hindi pa nga ho masyado na tatanong yung ibang mga kontratista, hindi ho ba? And to jump, well, to look into also, as you're saying, no, the rocknet issue, parang hindi pa ho na-exhaust lahat ng mga naimbita ninyo eh.
Hindi, tama naman ho kayo. In fact, antayin din ho namin yung mag-asawang Diskaya muli sa susunod pong hearing kasi hindi ho nagpakita si Mrs. Diskaya, and ang expectation din ho namin kay Mr. Curly Diskaya ay maglalantad pa rin ho siya nung pong mga inaasahan natin at magpapaliwanag doon sa up until the end of the hearing, major gaps sa kanya pong testimony and affidavit that was presented in the Senate.
Why was Sarah Diskaya not there during the second hearing, sir?
Nagbigay ho siya ng medical certificate. Sabi niya, meron po siya sakit at I think dadalo na lang daw po siya sa susunod pong pagdinig.
All right. So the next hearing again might be end of next week or early next week. Sino pa po ang iimbitahin? Diretsuhin ko na po. Si Mayor Benji Magalong ho ba iimbitahin na sa susunod na pagdinig?
Hindi pa rin ho siya imbitahin sa susunod pong pagdinig. Katulad ng binabanggit ko, I don't think he has actual personal knowledge dito po sa mga pinag-uusapan sa Bulacan, no? So, very important po yun eh. Kasi kailangan ho talaga yung pong witness, meron ho siyang masasabi doon sa mga particular na mga detalyeng pinag-uusapan po dito. And more importantly, and I think even up until the last couple of days, talaga marami yung sinasabi din si Mayor Magalong tungkol ho sa integrity ho ng komite. Parang tinatawag niya ng anti-moral pejorative yung ating pong komite. Pangalawa, tinatawag ho tayo na nagmamaang-maangan. Pangatlo, tinatawag ho tayo na mga kriminal ni Mayor Magalong. No? So, I think it's a concern for House members kung talaga ba nga seryoso siya na humarap po dito. At given ho yung mga binabanggit po niyang mga salita.
I think that the seriousness, sir, should not be questioned because he's quite serious about that. In fact, sabi nga, between the Senate and the House, he'd rather appear in the House hearing, but he's still not invited. And to follow up on that, Congressman, you said that you are collating more documents to look into, of course, also the rock netting issue in Tuba Benguet. Sir, Mayor Benji Magalong could shed light on that, can't he?
We will look at it kasi syempre hindi naman ho niya distrito yung pong Benguet, no? Iba ho yung may distrito doon. So,
Yeah.
we will have to decide as a committee kung relevant ho ba yung testimony niya kung sakali pagka pinag-usapan na ho natin yung pong rock netting sa Benguet. But again, to be very clear, hindi ho natin pwedeng maliitin yung I guess slander towards the committee, no? Ni Mayor
Okay.
Magalong. Kasi seryoso ho yun eh. Paulit-ulit na sinasabi ho ng mga kriminal yung mga miyembro, walang mangyayari dyan,
Yeah.
nagmamaangan po yung mga miyembro. So, kumbaga, hindi ho natin yun tinitake lightly dahil
Okay.
I think it goes into the integrity and reputation of the committee.
So it's almost like, can't you just be honest, sir, and just say that his personal attack, because of his personal attacks of some members of the House and even the hearing, that we refuse to invite Mayor Benji Magalong rather than saying that, hindi ko kasi alam, baka wala naman siyang alam doon sa mga pag-uusapan namin sa Bulacan at sa Tuba Benguet.
Hindi, obviously dito sa Bulacan, wala ko talaga siyang alam doon. No? Ang sinasabi ko doon sa Tuba Benguet, titignan ho natin. Kasi syempre, pagka ho nagsimula na po yung mga discussions on rock netting, kung meron naman ho talaga siyang relevant information na pwede hong ibigay sa komite relating to how it was actually overpriced in the last couple of years, those particular projects, baka yun yung maging trigger para maimbitahan ho natin si Mayor Magalong. No?
Doon po sa siguro nagtatanong, Congressman, na kung meron siguro dalawang tao na makapagbibigay linaw dito sa sinasabing anomalya sa flood control projects would be Senator Ping Lacson and Mayor Benji Magalong. Are you saying, sir, that he has no credibility para po sa inyo?
Ang sinasabi ko, wala siyang personal knowledge. Ibang bagay yung kredibilidad eh. Wala naman tayong debate na may kredibilidad si Senator Ping Lacson. Tingin ko, meron din naman yung kredibilidad si Mayor Magalong. Pero ang pinag-usapan ho natin kasi dito, yung pagbubuo ng mga kaso, pagkukuha ng mga ebidensya. Hindi ba? So, kumbaga, yung mga binabanggit, for example, ni Curly Discay ng mga bigayan sa mga politiko, I think personal knowledge niya ho yun eh. So, kung halos pag-uulit lang po ito, nung sinasabi niyang scheme of corruption, I think I'd rather face Curly Discaya in that inquiry. Dahil siya yung nagsasabi na, ito ho yung pinagbibigyan niya ng mga pera, binibigyan niya ng DPWH. Ang excuse niya, napapwersa daw siyang magbigay ng pera sa mga politiko kahit ayaw daw niya. No, so, mas gusto ko yun kasi personal knowledge ko yun eh. Hindi naman po ito forum, public forum kung saan pwede ka lang magbigay ng mga kuro-kuro. This testimony will be used in the future independent commission on infrastructure na binubuo po ng ating pong Pangulo. No? Ito po yung pwedeng gamitin sa pagka-file po ng kaso sa ombudsman. No? So, kumbaga, hindi po pwede talaga na hindi based on personal knowledge po yung mga sinasalang po natin.
But it's an investigation, for example, sir, an investigation, for example, that was started by Senator Ping Lacson, to which he himself has no personal knowledge. Unless I'm mistaken, sa pagkakaalam ko po, wala siyang personal knowledge. Pero there's no question about his credibility unless you're questioning that. To compare to Mayor Benji Magalong, who probably, as you were saying, also has no personal knowledge, but I guess the question is, sir, do you question his credibility?
No, I'm not questioning his credibility. Ang sinasabi na, for example, we have to make a nuanced distinction between Senator Lacson and Mayor Magalong. Senator Lacson, I think, within his full powers as senator to undertake oversight, which is why he's looking into all of these projects. No? So, kumbaga, hindi natin kailangan pagbanggain yun. No? So, ginagalang ko yung dalawa, pero ang pagtingin ko, very important ho, na pag sumalang po sa mga pagdinig, whether sa Senado man yan o sa Kongreso, dapat nakabatay po sa actual personal knowledge, yung babanggitin po ng mga resource persons.
Okay, so he's not invited basically because you're saying, to summarize this, sir, you do not or will not invite Mayor Benji Magalong yet because wala pa naman siyang personal knowledge, gaya po ng sinasabi niyo. At dahil din po sa naging mga atake niya sa miyembro ng House, sa ilang miyembro ng House at doon po sa hearing. Would that be correct, sir?
Tama po yun.
Okay.
Ibig sabihin, when we get into Benguet, kung meron ho talaga siyang personal knowledge, at in fact, kasama niya si Pangulo sa pag-iikot, at magtututuro ho siya doon po sa mga tingin niya na mga kontratista at mga politikong involved po rito, edi tingin ko, magiging bukas po yung komite na isa lang po siya doon.
Kahit na masama ang loob niyo sa kanya dahil sa mga atake niya sa Kongreso.
Eh, siyempre, personal knowledge po yun eh. Kumbaga, kung alam
Yun
niya
ang
for a fact,
mananaig.
yun po yung mananaig. Kumbaga, willing ako to just let the slander pass kung talaga ho matuturo siya ng mga malalaking mga tao na involved po sa mga rocknetting scams.
Personal knowledge, sir, when you talk about that, one person that will come to mind, obviously, would be Congressman Zaldico. Dahil po sa SunWest, no, na founder po siya, at malaki din po ang nakubra nitong 2022 to 2025. I understand, sir, that in previous interviews, and even in my interviews with some former congressman rather, now spokesperson, Ace Barbers and Congresswoman Janet Garin ay naimbitahan na ho si Congressman Zaldico. For the record, sir, when was the invitation sent? What kind of invitation was sent? And when will he attend? Go ahead, sir.
No, the invitation was sent to him, I think, last Friday. No? So, so what we are hoping, as soon as he returns to the country, he would be able to participate in the House hearings po. Particularly relating to the 2024 budget, because he was chairman then, because the tie for that would be yung pong ghost project in Plaridel, Bulacan. Kasi we would want to be able to know from, not just from Congressman Zaldico, but also from the entire members of that bicameral conference committee, sino po yung nag-insert nito pong particular project po na ito that resulted into a ghost project in Plaridel, Bulacan by Wawa Builders.
Okay. And any information on when he will attend, Congressman?
No, I don't have information about that. Ang alam ko lang na he is abroad and undertaking ano ba yan? Medical nagpapagamot si Congressman Zaldico, is what I know.
How important is it for him to show up at the soonest possible time?
Well, mahalaga po yun kasi syempre gusto nating malaman sino yung proponent eh. Nito pong ghost project po in Plaridel, Bulacan. No? So, ibig sabihin, it can actually be a congressman and it can actually be a senator. No? So, gusto natin malaman yung proseso ba nung bicameral conference committee. Kasi to be very clear, this particular line item was never in the House General Appropriations Bill. So,
Wala
ibig
po sa
sabihin,
HGAB.
Wala po sa HGAB. So,
Okay.
it was basically inserted in the BICAM. So, I think the chairs of the Appropriations Committee and the Finance Committee can maybe shed light on the matter of who made that insertion.
But I understand, of course, any testimony would have to be made in front of the members of the Infra Committee. But has there been any attempt to actually really ask the former Appropriations Committee Chair, Congressman Zaldico, about this particular project that you are indicating?
No, we haven't asked him. Siyempre, all of these things should be made formally din po. No? So, as soon as he returns to the country, our expectation would be he would attend and speak about what he knows on this 2024 insertion relating to the ghost project in Bulacan.
The question, sir, of course, is being asked, no? Pag tinatanong palagi kailan ho siya mag-a-attend ay hindi pa po namin alam. Ang tanong ho kasi dito, hindi naman po pwedeng blank wall yun. Hindi namin alam. Depende. What is it? It depends on him? Kung kailan ho siya babalik. I mean, isn't it important for you as chairman of the Infra Committee to actually have a definite answer on when Congressman Zaldico will come back to the Philippines, sir?
Hindi, mahalaga yon. Pero ultimately kasi siyempre, yung pong kongresista yung magpapasya. kung babalik siya sa Pilipinas o hindi.
Kung
Kumbaga, I don't
babalik
think,
siya sa Pilipinas, sir. So meron pong posibilidad na baka hindi?
kung kailan siya babalik sa
Kung
Pilipinas.
kailan.
No?
Okay.
Oh. So I think that needs to be clear. Kasi siya ho yung may medical condition, di naman ho yung mga miyembro ng Kongreso. Eh.
Yes.
So I think that question is most appropriately asked of him.
That's right,
No,
sir. I'm actually...
not to anyone, not to any other House member.
Yes, I'm actually not asking any House member kung kailan yung dapat isagot ni Congressman Zaldico. Ang tinatanong ko po, isn't it important for the chairman to be able to ask him, the congressman, approximately kailan po siya babalik?
Wala tayong debate na mahalaga po yun. No? Pero ang totoo din naman, bukod naman ho sa kanya, may mga ibang miyembro naman din ho ng BICAM na nandito na pwede hong tanungin.
Okay.
So, nung panahon po na yun, former Senator Sani Angara, yung po na to, marami din mga miyembro ng BICAM na nakaupo pa rin ngayon. So, I think, pwede ho silang maunang maisalang.
Okay.
Pagkaya na po yung pinag-uusapan.
Okay, because that is left hanging, and because you have no definite answer from Congressman Zaldico, what about Senator Grace Poe? Have you invited her, and paano ho ba yung tinatawag na inter-parliamentary courtesy? Kahit na po alam natin na hindi na po senador si Senator Grace Poe.
Yeah, meron po siyang, it was a motion, it was approved, so I think as soon as she gets back, I don't think she is here, no? So as soon as she gets back from abroad, we will schedule a date kung kailan ho siya pwedeng maisalang at magpaliwanag. Not for the 2024 budget, but for the 2025 budget. Kasi she was the Finance Committee Chair po ng 2025.
In 2024, to be clear, was then Senator Angara.
Sani Angara.
Opo. So what about him?
Well, pwede ho natin siyang invite after ho nitong pagka naisalang po siya Senator Grace.
So mauuna, the track you're seeing is that sana Senator Grace Poe will be present, and then after that, tsaka niyo po tatawagin yung susunod, si Secretary Angara.
Pwede po yun. Kasi that was the motion po eh. Actually, wala naman motion in the last hearing na invite po siya Secretary Angara ngayon. Pero the motion was basically to invite both Congressman Zaldico and former Senator Grace Poe to go to that hearing.
Yeah. Again, for context, dahil yun po yung sinasabing budget ng 2025 wherein Senator Grace Poe was the head of the Finance Committee and Congressman Zaldico was the head of the House Appropriations Committee. Sila po yung they were the heads of the BICAM at that time. A quick question, sir, before we go on a break. Wasn't the minority congressman also present during the BICAM? Congressman, if I'm not mistaken, Libanon?
Yes, the minority leader was also there.
Why not call him, sir?
Pwede rin, no? I don't think wala naman ng problema. I think he would be able to shed light on the details of the BICAM as well.
Pero siya din po ba sa 2024?
I think he was the minority leader from the beginning of the Marcos administration.
All right, we will be taking a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with Congressman Terry Redon when we return. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, House Infrastructure Committee Chairman, Representative Terry Redon. Congressman, welcome back. Let's talk about what happened during the last hearings, both houses of Congress. Ano po? Doon po kasi sa Senado ang itinuro ay mga congressman. Pagdating naman po sa House, ang tinuro naman ay dalawang senador, Senator Jinggoy Estrada and Senator Joel Villanueva. Of course, they vehemently deny this, and likewise with the congressmen that were mentioned. Punta na tayo doon sa pag-mention po nitong si Bryce Hernandez kay Senator Jinggoy and Senator Joel Villanueva. Sir, do you believe that, what is your appreciation na lang po muna of the testimony of Bryce Hernandez?
I have to talk about Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza. Kasi it's not just a mere testimony. May mga pinakita ho silang mga documentary evidence, no? Screenshots po of conversations between Mr. Henry Alcantara and Senator Joel Villanueva. In the course of the hearing, inadmit po ni Mr. Alcantara na it was actually Senator Joel that he was talking to. Except lang po na they were talking daw po about flood control projects. No? Pero I think what was clear in those screenshots was that they were actually talking about DPWH affairs. No? So that needs to be stated. Si JP Mendoza, basically siya kasi yung kumuha ng mga litrato. And I think I would have to say that these disclosures are being done at great risk to their lives and security and safety. As compared to, for example, the affidavit of the Diskaya couple kung saan nagpangalan lang ho sila nito pong mga kongresistang sangkot pero wala hong mga particular na mga detalye. We haven't seen the ledger that they were talking about. We were asking for it. Sabi niya, they will show it in the next hearing. So, iba ho yung pagkakaroon ng particular ng mga detalye nito pong mga binabanggit po niya Bryce Hernandez at ni JP Mendoza. So, I think we have to give some credibility doon po sa kanila pong sinasabi.
Sorry, could you repeat that, sir? Give some credibility to what they are
Opo,
saying.
yeah.
That's what you said, sir. Okay, understand. Even if sabihin po natin na Congressman that there have been instances where Bryce Hernandez was supposedly either lying or was inconsistent with some of his statements. For example, yung pong pinakita nila sa Senado na mga driver's license to which until now, hindi po niya, he's denying it. And then you have Henry Alcantara admitting that. Isa po yun. Pangalawa po, yung pagpunta sa casino na hindi po naman niya dinedeny yun, pero sinasabi niya hindi niya pera yung ginagamit niya, pero namatalo ng 400 plus million pesos. Isa po yun. What about those? Kahit nasabihin po niyong parang may pruweba or may circumstantial evidence ng whatever they might want to call that, sir. What about the possible inconsistencies doon kay Bryce Hernandez, sir?
Hindi, ang totoo naman ho, even in court, and I'm speaking as a lawyer, pwede naman ho magsinungaling sila on other things, pero pwede rin ho sila nagsasabi ng totoo on many other things, no? So, eto ko, tingin ko, nagsisinungaling sila doon sa testimony nila relating to the casino. Di ba, na sabi niya, hindi daw niya pera. In fact, kahit siya, Senator Ping Lacson, yun yung binabanggit niya, no? Na parang he doesn't find Bryce Hernandez credible dahil nagsisinungaling siya doon sa kanya pong casino activities. Pero alam po niyo in court, ang pinag-usapan dito yung mga very specific details po of testimony. So, pwede ho talaga mangyari din na yung actual testimony niya relating to the conversations of Mr. Alcantara and Senator Joel and Senator Jinggoy, pwedeng katotohanan yun. Kasi, syempre, you have to subject each and every testimony naman po to some form of scrutiny. Di ba? So, I think that has been tested during the course of the hearing po last Tuesday. So, at least on that point, particularly dun sa disclosures po on the screenshots, which actually was admitted by Mr. Alcantara,
Yeah.
tingin ko tapos na ho yung usapan dun.
Hindi naman niya pinabulaanan yung pera. Hindi ho ba na nandun sa pool table?
Kasi yung tiyan niya ho nakalabas ho dun sa isang litrato ni Mr. Alcantara. So, I don't think he would actually deny it. In-explain lang ho niya na it wasn't for payoffs. Ang sinasabi lang ho niya ay andyan daw yung pera kasi yung pong gagamit ng lisensya, parang ibibigay yung pera doon sa ibang tao.
But
So,
personally,
yun po-
sir, are you okay with that? Doon po sa inyong sinabi, personally, that there can be truths, for example, kay Bryce Hernandez, and there can be lies. Tanggap niyo ho ba yun?
Tingin ko gano'n naman ho talaga in court eh. Di ba? In court and in inquiries, there are statements that can actually be true. There are statements that can actually be false. No? So, yun, kailangan hong makita talaga lang natin, alin dun, we have to be able to sift through each and every statement. Kasi, for example, that particular statement needs to be validated with a particular documentary evidence, hindi ba? So, pagka may documentary evidence na nakatali po dun sa statement ho ng tao, tingin ko, check ho yun bilang tama at totoo. Pero for example, kung halimbawa, nagsisinungaling talaga siya doon sa casino, pero may pinakita halimbawa siya yung Senado na controverting evidence, no? Na hindi yan totoo, nagsisinungaling ka. Edi, ang pinag-usapan lang ho natin, nagsisinungaling ka doon sa casino activities mo, pero baka totoo yung sinasabi mo tungkol dito sa mga screenshots po na ito.
But doesn't inconsistency damage a person's credibility? Or hindi ho ba nawawala ang kredibilidad ng isang tao dahil sinungaling ho siya sa ibang bagay at pinapatotohanan po niya yung iba?
Totoo yun, pero kinoconsider pa rin naman ho ng mga korte at mga tribunals yun eh. Kasi nga, for as long as back to siya, by documentary evidence, kahit nagsinungaling ka on other things, pero very clearly, naipakita mo na nag-uusap talaga sila. For example, nag-uusap talaga and admitted by another person, by a third person, yung particular allegation na binabanggit mo.
Okay.
I think that would be considered as credible, as a credible statement. Kahit nagsinungaling ka pa dun sa, for example, casino activities mo.
So to me, sir, please correct me if I'm wrong. It's quite obvious to me that you believe the testimony of Bryce Hernandez because sinasabi mo nga, meron siyang ebidensya
No, just to be clear, only relating to the disclosures on the senators involved.
Yeah, Senator Jinggoy and Senator Joel
On that
Villanueva.
particular point lang
Yeah.
po.
Yes, yes,
Di ba?
yes.
Just to be clear. Kasi, I've seen the Senate hearings, matigas ho yung pagtanggi niya ho dun sa casino activities niya, at hindi rin ako kumbinsido nun.
So okay, let's end that part, sir. Naniniwala ho kayo doon sa testimony ni Bryce Hernandez na sangkot si Senator Joel Villanueva at Jinggoy Estrada?
Tama po.
Okay, all right. And then, because of that, sir, pinakita nga niya yung mga screenshots in the House. Sir, how did this all happen? Because I know it was in the beginning the questioning by Congressman Alfredo Garbin and then subsequently by Congressman Adyong, if I'm not mistaken. Ito pong pagsiwalat ni Bryce Hernandez, no, na allegedly sangkot si Senator Joel at Senator Jinggoy Estrada, sir. So, and then lumabas ito na nga recently kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada naman na batchmate daw kayo nitong si Bryce Hernandez. Just give us, magkakilala ho ba kayo? Nakausap niyo ho siya bago yung hearing? Alam niyo ho ba na may sasabihin siyang ganito?
Una sa lahat, hindi ko alam na magka-batchmates kami. Mula noon hanggang may nagsabi lang sa akin na magka-batchmates kami. So hindi ko siya kilala, hindi ko siya kaklase. Nung grade school po kami. No? So I think that needs to be stated. No? So I think some of our batchmates took pictures of the yearbook and then sent it to the group chats of different alumni groups. No? Then the pictures of and those pictures ended up with Senator Jinggoy. That's why I think he disclosed it.
And nung sinabi po ni Senator Jinggoy na safe kaya tayo sa kanila, ano ho ang inyong tugon doon?
Well, first of all, I'd like to state na from last night, I think, nag-ayos na ho kami Senator Jinggoy. So, he has taken down his post. I've taken down my post.
I see.
And I think we have to be able to move on already.
Okay. Congressman,
and to focus on more important things.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but nag-usap na ho kayo. You talked on the phone. What happened, sir? Just tell us.
I didn't talk to Senator Jinggoy. Through intermediaries lang po na tapusin na lang ho itong social media squabble and just focus on other important things.
Is that why you took out your post when you mentioned sexy? 12 years old pa lang ako dyan, sinama mo pa yung so-and-so. Hindi ko na po sasabihin dahil nga mali po yun. Yun ho ba yun? That's why you took it down?
Yes. Everything's been taken down now. So we all have to move on.
Okay,
At
all
one
right.
point.
Fair enough, sir. Okay. So what's next is that the president already issued an executive order to create this independent commission. Sir, if and when the commissioners or the individuals are named, what happens to the House hearing?
Pwede pa naman mag-proceed eh, kasi like what I stated, marami pa kaming mga gustong tapusin ng mga issues, no, which we stated previously. So, subukan namin matapos po ito. Pero ang sinabi ko naman din we are open to, of course, work with the ICI. The Congress and the Senate were mentioned in that executive order. So whatever it is that we have, the findings that we have, the recommendations that we have, we will forward it to the ICI. No? But we're also open to actually suspending proceedings and just so that the nation can just focus on the ICI. And what we hope to do is for the leadership of both the House and the Senate to actually undertake a joint resolution suspending all proceedings para we can focus na lang po on the ICI.
At least last I heard, sir, is that Senator Ping Lacson really wants to continue with the investigation in the Senate. Of course, kakaupo lang po niya bilang Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman. Just a quick question, Congressman. With all the protests happening right now, how can you assure the public that, for example, there's a lot of questions, obviously you know this, about the House conducting this investigation dahil sabi nga parang iniimbestigahan nyo yung inyong sarili dito. Tell the public, at least tell us now, how we can be assured that you will have, for now, until you possibly suspend it rather, a hearing that is fair, transparent.
Well, I think to be very clear, no, obviously hindi lang ho Senado yung, hindi lang ho Kongreso ho yung on trial here. It's also the Senate. So, kasi may mga napapangalanan din pong mga senador dito. But I think yung conduct po ng last hearing po namin would be a good clue on how we actually want to conduct it. Kasi one of the congresswomen that was mentioned by Curly Discaya wanted to actually interpellate Curly Discaya, but we stopped him and we implemented the protocol in which if you are named, you only have the right to reply but you don't have the right to interpellate. Siyempre, ito very important po sa amin yun para maipakita sa tao na this is not, wala kaming poprotektahan ng mga kasamahan po namin dito.
All right. Congressman Terry Redon, sir, thank you so much for your time. Pleasure to have you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
That's On Point. Join us again or rather on Monday. It's a weekend at 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.